Yebo, Zomkhonto, Ukabatela. Now I have this piece that I wrote a while back, and it's quite an interesting one around interesting events, but it's actually born of this prompt given around that time where someone had asked, so what one thing about yourself, unique thing, do you wish that people would know about you? And just like my mind just jumped at this one thing that my cousin Michael Fah taught me as a child. Taught me this very one beautiful thing, as you'll find out later. But I thought of that, and then by the time of that prompt, this and those events happening in the background, I came up with this poem. So it's called Cooing Sounds, and you'll find out why. So here it goes. So the other day in March, I watched Will Smith smack the Ukrainian war into oblivion. And the very next day, myself included, we all took communion, as if the inside of Will's palm was a pulsating pacemaker for world peace. Then a memory occurred to me. I looked down at my own palms and remember that as a child, I used to make dove sounds with my hands clasped together. I carried around peace in the form of a ring-necked dove. And every time I adjusted the volume of its voice, it sounded very much like love. And that love sounded something like this. As a child, I would walk into crowded spaces and just cup my hands as if in a prayer. It's like I could hear the sound of bombs decapitating arms in the daydreams of young men with complex histories. I could smell the fumes of wars that consumed the women and drowned their cheap perfumes. And I would stand in the midst of it all and just close my eyes. And if you had seen me, you would think, as young as I was, I knew nothing about wars. But let me take you back to the morning when that ring-necked dove was born in my palms. I watched it hatch in my hands like heaven's handshake. It was like a feather, like earthquake. And in the work of its silent but thundering birth, it found me. It found me. I instantly had this knowing feeling that it had been growing inside of me, that my psyche had somehow become pregnant with the chorus of mourning doves, that without me knowing, peace had staggered into my palms, a fingerprint a day, threading the dove's song from the cracks in my grandfather's window, telling me stories of the bad things that doves see when everyone is sleeping. I heard that our fathers lie, and that we become fathers who lie too. That our fathers' mouths are caves for drunken demons that leap onto their shoulders, and that they carry these around like their abandoned sons. I heard that the midnight sky was teeming with fumes from fires our grandmothers never started. And as a child, I walk into crowded spaces and just cup my hands as if in a prayer. Because in my palms lived this ring-necked dove And the day my chest could weave its song into being, I became someone else. I started threading its voice into life, and I would paint each feather of its wings and let them flutter with the innocence of my innermost childish dreams. I would cup my palms together and its beak would knock upon the inside of my chest and into the broken dreams and internal walls of the ghetto. And people turned. Everywhere I went, people turned. And I wondered if for a second the size of solemn silence inside my soul had finally found solace. And almost in an instant, you heard the distant sound of those dead rats of the ghetto disappearing from underneath the discord in the gutters. And the smiles came back to the faces of our mothers. And the hands that had slapped them against their will returned to their hiding place. Zomkhonto, Kabadela, Silakata, Bangasita, Konapo, Konapo, Chauxwele,